Finally, we have arrived at part 4 of the lecture, Facilitation of Pupils' Interaction, Creating Their Learning Community. The aim of part 4 is to introduce the culture of learning community that increases joint and supportive participation of pupils. And we will investigate it along the following 2 points. First of all, we want to reveal the forms of joint and supportive participation that promote formation of positive relations and contribute to elimination of communication barriers. And secondly, we also will research what kind of teachers' support encourages joint and supportive participation of children. Again, we rely on acknowledged researchers who have the following to say on the issue. To the question, how is joint participation of pupils important? Some answers might be that there are various research studies that confirm the development of positive feelings among students with and without disability when they are actively involved in common activities. Hutzler and other researchers believe that. Bunch and Valio conclude that students without disabilities who attended inclusive classrooms in general education schools were more friendly and respectful towards students with disabilities as compared to students without disabilities who were not in inclusive classrooms. Children's education in socio-cultural context is an aspect of vital importance that is more easily realized with the help of the creation of situations involving pupils' joint participation in activities. Joint participation, in turn, encourages pupils to understand differences, transform their own point of view, as well as interpersonal relationships. Also the ways of communicating and cooperating, with the aim of establishing and developing reciprocal connections, namely emotional, social, intellectual, and spiritual ones. Pupils' joint participation also highlights certain barriers for the establishment of connections and helps the researcher discover ways used to reduce the mentioned barriers. We were concerned about our own situation and the possible contribution to the international research, and we posed the question, what did research conducted in the Lithuanian School of Inclusive Education reveal? First of all, we were interested in the practices of supportive behavior of the pupils, as well as in the situations themselves of joint participation. And we did the study along certain points, namely, accepting pupils with special educational needs into games was one of the major points. In this case, we find the following responses. There's one girl, Yeva. She sometimes has no friends, but we accept her, although sometimes we are so much into the game and we don't want her to disturb us, because when she interferes, she disturbs us. Nevertheless, you have to accept the person. Another point we were very much interested in was how mediation for pupils with special educational needs goes on. To offer you one quote here, I also help make friends with others. If, for example, Lina wants to make friends with some girl, but she is afraid to, I always help her. Another point was looking after pupils with special educational needs and how the pupils reacted. For example, I always help them because I see and I say, "Why are you crying today? What happened?" I ask about what had happened and then try to solve the problem because I want to help very much. You have to see everyone who is in trouble. Then, another point under our study was the pupils' attempt to physically stay nearby in cases when others are in need of help. One pupil said, "Once during the physical education lesson, I hurt myself, and I don't remember if it was my leg or arm, and one of my friends accompanied me to the nurse." While speaking about the situations in which pupils appear, we were interested in pupils' joint participation and how they were revealed in the research. First of all, joint participation in developing bonds of friendship was in our view. The children say, "I am friends with girls. They are very friendly. All the girls are friendly with each other." Another pupil says, "If there was no class, I, for example, would not have my friends." And the third pupil expresses his opinion in the following way: "We are best friends with Vilus. We do mathematical tasks together. And with the others, we play together. It's much fun for me to go to school." In the case of joint participation in conflict management situations, we can reveal the following. The children say, "But sometimes things happen that hurt me. They call me names or push me around. Then my friends comfort me, they help me when I'm in trouble." Another pupil saying, "Some tell me that I'm doing something wrong and how I should be doing it instead." Joint participation in informal class activities matters a lot. We see it on the example of children's words. "Our teacher takes us on outings very often. We went to my mom's work. We went to the Cafe Artiste and baked pizzas. Everyone was happy." Joint participation in whole school events also seems to be significant. The children acknowledge, "In our school, we have events called Talents of Versmee. My friend and I want to take part in them. We haven't done it yet. We have only watched them." Joint participation in activities is of social significance, and the social significance can be proved by the following. The pupils organize all sorts of initiatives. They collected toothbrushes and took them, I don't remember where, maybe to the Philippines, where people are poor. The whole school collects toothbrushes here. We had to collect 200 or 500 of them. The second important point in our investigation focused on the teacher support, and we wanted to disclose how do teachers support and encourage pupils' joint participation. We had several major strategies revealed here while investigating the question. Mainly, teachers apply whole class-oriented strategies to encourage joint participation of pupils, also pupils and teachers, as well as teachers and parents involved. The specific ways revealed were the following. First, there were situations encouraging pupils' joint participation and decision-making created by teachers. They want to play football a lot, the teacher says, so I let them to do it during physical education lessons. I leave them to it and don't interfere at all. They find agreements themselves perfectly well. If something happens, the boys say, we think and solve it. And then they somehow talk it through and find a solution and continue playing again. Another way that we observed was communication rituals ensuring pupils' joint participation. Joint participation of pupils and teachers is also ensured by the morning circle and the circle of goodbye after classes. Still other ways that we observed were joint class activity-oriented teacher support that increases inclusion and reduces barriers among pupils. One teacher says, I have a boy called Vytautas. He's used to interacting with older people, and it's hard for him to be among his peers. He's a walking encyclopedia, but the children never listen to him. And so he delivered a lesson. He walked between desks like a professor. He is very good at telling and formulating ideas. All the children stood up and gave him a round of applause. The child received such a lot of encouragement. Still another way is parent and specialist involvement, which means helping to overcome complex interpersonal relationship barriers. And the teacher's ideas on that sound like this. It's a tough work with the parents too. We tell them, dear parents, we can either scold the children, tell them you are misbehaving, don't be friends with that child, or we can invite the child over and let them play together. And the parents establish mutual contacts. Now I see the boys strategize by themselves, and they say, you'll come over to me, and you can come over to me. The parents also found a connection. It worked. The boys are now very much united. Now, having analyzed the following questions under study and provided you with some insights revealed by our research, we would like to invite you again to analyze this generalized scheme that presents in a nutshell all aspects of joint participation of the processes involved and outcomes obtained. Finally, we would like to offer the task. And when you do the task, please upload your replies and solutions so that we could get them. The task is reflect on all the methods applied by teachers that you heard about during the lesson that encourage the formation of positive interpersonal relations in heterogeneous classes. Then, describe several methods which were not mentioned in the lecture material that also encourage pupils' positive interpersonal relations in heterogeneous classes too. These can be methods like from your own personal practical experience, from observed practical experience of other teachers on the job, or from scientific research, scientific papers, seminars, and workshops, or other sources available to you.